Welcome one and all to the ancient journey. On today's journey, tales of reincarnation. But before we get started, don't forget, if you enjoy the video, please give us a like and a share. And if you're into our content, please check out the rest of the channel and subscribe. It helps grow the channel and it keeps us producing these videos. A popular saying is, life is like a roller coaster. It has its ups and downs, and it's your choice to scream or just to enjoy the ride. But we're all on this ride only once, and when the ride stops, so do we. Or do we? What if we could grab another ticket and hop back on the ride for one more turn? What if some of us already have? It's 2009, and 4-year-old Ryan Hammonds wakes up screaming. He's clutching his chest and yelling to his mother how his heart exploded in Hollywood. Ryan's mother, Cindy, is at first dismissive of her son's nightmare, then becomes puzzled and eventually curious of all of the details he is able to provide. Ryan insists that he lived in a house in Hollywood, on a street with the name Rock in it. He says he had 3 sons, and also had someone who was a friend who he called Senator Fives. Ryan's mother sits with him and leafs through a book of photos of the glory days of Hollywood. Ryan suddenly is excitedly pointing at one photo in particular. It's a photo from a movie from 1932. The movie is called Night After Night, starring Mae West in her very first film. The person that Ryan is pointing at in that film is an extra, someone with no lines. But Ryan is insistent. The man he's pointing to is himself, and the person next to him in the photo is his friend George. Ryan's mother has the photo verified. The man in the photo's name is Martin, a man who died of a heart attack in 1964. Martin was a Hollywood agent and an actor, lived on North Roxbury Drive, had 3 sons, and once met with New York Senator Irving Ives. Luke Rollman is 5, and his mother Erica giggles as he runs around calling various items in the house Pam. Luke's favorite toy was named Pam, and the couch was named Pam, and Luke's pajamas were called Pam. But along with this strange naming confusion, Luke confides in her one day that he used to be a girl. He tells his mother he had black hair. He also tells her that the earrings that she wears looks like a pair that he used to have. Erica, like most mothers do, plays along patiently with her son to a point, and then finally decides to ask Luke who Pam really was. I was Pam, Luke told her. I died and went to heaven, but God pushed me back down. And when I woke up, I was a baby, and you had named me Luke. Luke continues on, telling her he lived in Chicago, rode the train often, and had died in a fire. Luke makes a hand motion of someone jumping while he tells this story. Erica goes online to search out Pam and finds the story of a fire in the Paxton Hotel in Chicago. One of the deaths in the fire happened when an occupant jumped from a window to her death. That person's name was Pam Robinson. On May 5th, 1957, twin girls Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock are killed in a truck car accident. Parents John and Florence Pollock received good news the following year. They had been blessed and were expecting another set of twins. The twins, who would be named Jillian and Jennifer, are identical, with the exception of Jennifer's birthmarks. Jennifer is born with a birthmark on her waist, one that resembles deceased sister Jacqueline's. She also has a birthmark on her forehead that matches a scar that Jacqueline had. Jillian and Jacqueline can remember toys that the deceased twins had, recall landmarks near the home where they no longer lived, and were strangely terrified of cars. Born in Delhi, India in 1926, Shanti Devi does not begin to speak until the age of 4, but once she starts talking, she has quite a story to tell. Shanti insists she lived in a town half the country away called Mathura. She says she died 10 days after giving birth to a child, and that she needed to get back to her husband's shop in front of one of the local temples in Mathura. One of Shanti's teachers pries the name of the husband from her. She says his name is Pandit Chaub. The teacher then identifies a name in Mathura. This man writes her back, asking if the girl's claims could possibly be true. They were. Chaub's wife, Lugdi, died during childbirth 9 years earlier. Chaub actually travels to meet Shanti, and at first introduces himself with a fake name, but Shanti immediately calls him by his real name, and rattles off several details about Lugdi's life. She is even angry at him for remarrying after he promised her that he wouldn't. No less than Mahatma Gandhi met with Devi to evaluate the story, and could not prove it to be untrue. Connecticut Fire Chief Jeffrey Keene is vacationing in Maryland and enters a Civil War battlefield called Sunken Road. He is suddenly overcome with emotion, so much so he thinks he may be suffering from a heart attack. Soon the moment passes. He is left with a strange feeling of connection to the battlefield. Weeks later, he is at a party where a psychic is entertaining. He tells her of his incident, and she asks if he believes in reincarnation. Before he can even think of an answer, he finds himself blurting out the words, "Not yet." Jeffrey doesn't even understand his own answer that came out of his mouth so quickly before he even thought of it. Once home, he finds himself reading literature about the Civil War and comes across an article about a Civil War general with the last name Gordon. He had fought in the Battle of Antietam at Sunken Road. He is best remembered for shouting the words, "Not yet," during battles. Upon researching Gordon's life, Keene found more connections between himself and Gordon. Keene had marks on his body similar to wounds Gordon had suffered in war. On Keene's 30th birthday, he was admitted to the hospital with terrible pain in his jaw. When Gordon turned 30, he had been shot in the face. The resemblance between the two men is fairly striking. So do these stories point to a second chance at a new life, to another ticket on this ride? Are we sharing lives with others, or are we living this life only to be reborn again later in a new one? Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing the journey.